Hello everybody, in today's video, we're going to be playing the mod Kaiserredux with some mod equipped, a Rising Dragon. Now I've never tried a Rising Dragon mod, but I've heard that it's pretty cool. So that's why I'm going to get Mao Zedong, because they added him in a Rising Dragon submod. Now we start off as the Hunnan Clique. We're a puppet of the League of Eight Provinces. We've got some pretty detrimental debuffs. However, once Mao Zedong is leader of the Hunnan Clique, I believe that he can lead us to Chinese greatness. Now, would you take a look at this? The League of Eight Provinces has just collapsed. I mean, it was bound to happen one day. But more importantly, for the Hunnan Clique, we are now independent, and we also gain access to some of our economic focuses, which will slightly decrease the debuffs on some of our national spirits. But just to mention, this video is completely done due to a recommendation. So if you guys have any video ideas that you want me to do, just leave a comment down in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to complete your dream. Anyways, back to the video. So, as a Hunnan Clique, we've got 3 parties to choose from. Oh, there's more, but you get the gist of it. The elections here, we've got the Kuomintang, the funny opium guys, and the spirit soldiers. I think that's what they're called. But we want to eliminate spirit soldiers and the opium guy. Why? Well, the Kuomintang has also got a communist party by its side, and if we get them in charge, we can get Mao in charge. So, after a few events and decision clicking, I was finally able to win the election. Now, just a minor note, this took me so many attempts to get right, because I couldn't find any tutorials on how to get Mao in a Rising Dragon submod for Kaiserredux. But once I did, it was pretty easy what to do, because we've got some more elections where we have to get the Shinmin Society, I think that's what they're called, but Mao is leading them. So for all these elections, we're gonna click Mao Zedong, Mao Zedong, Mao Zedong. And once these little elections was over, we have obviously got the nation to support the Shinmin Society. So Mao Zedong is pretty popular in the Hunnan Clique. Thus, Hunnan is now led by none other than Mao Zedong. And right here, we are going to get rid of the Kuomintang, because I want Mao Zedong to have all the power. Why would I want to do that? The Kuomintang are a powerful ally, you may ask. Well, I fully believe in Mao Zedong to be competent and lead the Hunnan Clique, or whatever we're called now, to Chinese greatness. And if you take a look at this, we've got a brand new focus tree with some pretty nice national buffs. So without further ado, let's dive into our new focus tree. Well, we've obviously got to secure and consolidate our power in the Hunnan Clique, whereas communism and socialism isn't quite popular right now, so we've got some focuses, or not anymore, but those focuses down that side increase support for our party, for Mao Zedong's party. But to continue down our political side of the focus tree to increase support, we've got to go down some economic land reforms, because we've got to prove to the people that Mao Zedong's reforms are capable, so we can further progress down the political side of the focus tree, I suppose. But actually, these buffs aren't so bad if I do say so myself. Now, at the time, I was like, wow, these buffs will come in so handy. But, just a quick note, I was kind of right. Because if you look at this right here, this drastically improves our economy, which will be able to give us enough funds to increase the mighty Chinese Socialist Army. But now we're done that little side of the focus tree, I guess we've got to do even more reforms before we can go down the political side of the focus tree again, because the people don't believe that Mao Zedong was capable enough how foolish they are. So we've obviously got some land reforms, but in our timeline it was quite clear that they did succeed, but at what cost? But we will not make the same mistake. For us, Mao is gonna be perfect and get everything right. So, once the land reforms were done, we could finally turn our heads and look over back to the political side of the focus tree. Because the land reforms were good, people were happy, everybody loves Mao Zedong in our nation. But even though I was done my land reforms, the peasants demanded justice, but I've obviously got to give it to them, I think. Just because communism runs off workers and peasants, because we strive for equality, and Mao Zedong can make a perfect socialist society in China. And after some focuses were done on the political side of the focus tree, the people were in love with the communists and socialists in the former Hunnan Clique. But before we can complete the last focus, we have got to actually expand. We've done so many reforms, land reforms, political reforms, economic reforms, but now it's time to focus on expansion. With all our nation's build up, I believe that our nation is going to be far superior compared to our neighbours. But in army size, I don't know. That's why we're training out a new batch of divisions to help protect ourselves against our bordering nations. For us, I think we're the smallest out of the lot, but that's right. Quality over quantity. Now if you look at this, the Sichuan Clique, I think that's how you pronounce it, not sure about that, but the Sichuan Clique is at war with Tibet. So I think time's right to declare war on them in their weakened state. But little did I know that we would also get attacked from the east. Now our divisions held off good against the Sichuan Clique. We didn't encounter many casualties. However, as soon as I tried an offensive plan to Sichuan Clique, we got attacked on our eastern front, so we had to immediately halt all offences, and with our mere laughable 15 divisions for a Chinese state, we had to defend our nations at a two-front war. Both nations were far superior compared to us in our army size. However, I would not give up, and I believe that we, under Mao Zedong, can prevail. I did launch and commence in some offences to kind of shorten our border partially. Now, our eastern neighbour who was at war with us was already fighting what's left of the Qing Imperial Authority, whatever they're called nowadays, but they did capitulate, and I had player peace conferences on, so I annexed the entirety of the nation. I mean, sorry if it was a bit unfair, but the Qing don't deserve any of our territory, for as it's all Mao Zedong's to hold. But that means all of our 15 divisions could launch attacks on the Sichuan Clique. Now, the Sichuan Clique were the ones fighting a two-front war, so it was safe to say that we were out of danger and victory was in reach. We launched some offences, trying to encircle some divisions, but that didn't really work. But we got lucky, and we managed to pull off some victories. But after minor victory, we were able to break different lines and advance further into the territory. Now, Chongqing, I think that's how you pronounce it. Once that city fell, the Sichuan Clique would capitulate, and I think we deserve all of the territory. Tibet didn't really do much. So, my nation is far stronger than it used to be a few months prior. But what to do now? I don't think our days of expansion are over just yet. They were a mere speed bump on a road to Chinese unification. But we're going to attack on our southern flank, and with some new divisions, the Lingguan, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm so sorry if I butchered that, but those people, or in base game it's the Guanxi Clique, and also Yunnan. They were basically the two remaining Chinese nations down south. Now, the Guanxi Clique, or the Linganguliguli thingy, fell pretty quickly, leaving Yunnan all unprotected on the newly open front. It was kind of like Germany going to the lowlands invading France. So, they didn't have any entrenchment or anything like that, so we quickly outmaneuvered their divisions, and with our fully equipped new batch of divisions coming into play, the Hunnan Clique would soon fall to Mao Zedong. So, after victory, you can see Hunnan Clique, they capitulated, and we're going to obviously assimilate them all into our new glorious nation. But what now? I think we should attack what's left of the Qing authority. Now actually I asked them to peacefully be assimilated, but Hui foolishly declined. So it's time to show them who is a real leader of the Chinese realm. Let's see what we can do. Now obviously the Qing Imperial Authority had a whole lot of divisions, but we had more divisions. We had more quality and quantity. So we'll try some encirclements, and they did pull off, meaning we had so much territory just to walk into, causing even more encirclements after encirclements after encirclements, leading to the ultimate demise. Now, with the fall of Beijing, the Qing Imperial Authority would be annexed by Mao Zedong. Now, our next targets would be the remaining Chinese nations left in the former Qing Dynasty territories or whatever. You know what I mean. So we've got to invade Tibet, Ma Clique, the Xinjiang Clique, the Mongolian Peasants Khanate, and the Fentian government. Governate. Oh my god. Anyways, so it looks like that all of them declined except for Mongolia. A wise decision from the Mongolians. And they were originally communist in the first place, so win-win. But now it's also time to put an end to these illegitimate Chinese nations that are just waiting to be defeated and invaded. Now, with the declaration of war against the Fentian government, the Japanese will decide to keep the promise and They already guaranteed them, so now we're at war with the Japanese. I don't know how we're going to invade them. We've got a pretty weak navy, but I'll figure it out later on. Now, all of our fronts, all of our offensives, were a major success. I mean, we're fighting 5 nations at the same time. That's a hard thing, and all of them were pretty powerful. But, you know what is even more powerful? Mao Zedong and his people. So, it would be a challenge, but it'd be a challenge that we would overcome. Well, we have eradicated all of our enemies from the Chinese mainland. All that remains is just Japan. This is gonna be tough. But with a few bombed Japanese ships later, we were able to pull off a successful naval invasion. Now, it did take me a few attempts to land, but once we did, the Japanese were absolutely hopeless. They put up minimal defenses. Just like in every other Wave War campaign I've had, the Japanese barely protect their homeland. I don't even know where the divisions were, probably preparing their own naval invasions. But after city after city fell, the Japanese state was left in complete and utter shambles. All we had to do after Tokyo and Yokohama was just capture one more city, and the Japanese would capitulate. And we can also integrate our puppet, Mongolia. But more importantly, if we get those decisions, we can officially reunite China. Mao Zedong proclaims the People's Republic of China. And after the final focus of the focus tree was completed, we are now officially known as the People's Republic of China. New shade of red. We've got a new focus tree that we can explore, but I'm not gonna get into too much detail of it, or else this video would be a bit too long for my liking. Now we can move our capital to the modern capital of China nowadays, Beijing. Why did I do that? Well, I don't know, because I can. But you also know what I can also do? Declare war on the Legion cities. I mean, they're rightful Chinese territory that's just waiting to be invaded. But they were also guaranteed by a lot of nations. So, we've got to deal with the Entente and Germany and its puppets, or allies. So without further ado, let's put our Chinese army to use. And with the fall of Singapore, that would conclude all of our enemies' territories on the mainland for Asia. Gone. We own it. So, the peace conference would be decided, and all of the territory that we conquered would be ours. And I mean, I have no clue how we're going to get from here to North America and the Germans as well. It's going to be too challenging, so I just did a little peace conference thingy, which would piece us out with the Entente and the Germans. But that would not be over yet. We would conquer the rest of the southern Eastern Asian nations and the Russian Empire. Now, we were on the gateway of Moscow. I was so close to getting to Moscow, but the foolish Russians protected their front against us instead of the Germans. They keep putting division after division, militia after militia on our front line. We were so close to Moscow. I didn't want the Germans to take it, but before anybody could take Moscow, Russia, along with its allies or puppets, capitulated. And I think I deserve every little bit. I mean, we marched from far eastern Siberia all the way to the gateways of Moscow. Now, back in 1936, the Hunnan Clique was known as an illegitimate Chinese warlord state, with an anarchy going on 24/7. The people were unhappy, poor, and it was just engulfed in chaos. However, once Mao Zedong became the leader of it, he led us to Chinese reunification. We defeated the Germans, the Entente, and the Russians. I think it's safe to say that we are the globe's #1 power. and it was like that for quite some time. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and